Hey everybody, I'm Ron
And I'm Jody.
from RoJo Travel, and we're going to talk to you today about our adventures with two different cruise lines, Royal Caribbean and Norwegian Cruise Line.
We have pluses and minuses on both sides of the cruise lines, for both cruise lines actually. We liked the embarkation process and several things with both cruise lines. Some were better, some were worse, and we just wanted to bring you guys some highlights of our experiences and what we thought worked out really well.
So both of these went out of LA. We're only about an hour with no traffic from the LA port. And both of them did hit Ensenada, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's talk about our embarkation process. For Royal Caribbean, we did drive down there. We parked. I think parking was about $20 a night, right?
Okay.
So it wasn't that bad for the 3 or 4 days. And then we timed ourselves from the point we left the truck to the point we got on the ship was 15-20 minutes. And it was not bad at all. Now, the difference on this one is that we picked a later check-in time. Normally, we try to get the earliest, like most people, because we want to get on board and just, start that vacation. But no, we had to pick a later time, and it really worked out great for us. So we might actually consider changing the way we do cruising moving forward and just try to get on later to make it a little bit easier. And then for Norwegian, what do you think?
For Norwegian, we had a little bit, we chose an earlier check-in time because that was we did the Haven experience, we'll talk about that another time. But with the Haven experience, we wanted to get there early. We wanted to take advantage of all the things that Norwegian has to offer as part of their Haven experience, getting to the port early, getting checked in early, so on and so forth. With Norwegian, they did have a separate check-in area just for the Haven guests. So that was really nice. It was flagged out, so it was easy to spot. And that was easy to get to once we dropped the luggage with the porters. Royal Caribbean, I think because we had a little bit later check-in time, the overall check-in process was really smooth. So pluses and minuses to leaving early and to leaving late. Just kind of depends on what works for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just going with the basic check-in, you don't have like a Haven suite or some kind of special priority entrance, or maybe you don't have
or priority.
Yeah, you don't have the membership where you have the extra perks. Picking a later time normally works out better, but it's always the excitement of getting on that ship earlier than everybody else. And they normally don't let anyone on until like 11 o'clock, somewhere thereafter.
And if you happen to be getting there early, you're going to be fighting the crowds that are coming off the boat too. And that is chaos. I don't care what port you've cruised out of. We've cruised out of 3 different ports. One in Florida, one in Washington, and here in LA. And if you try to get to the port at the same time that everybody else is getting off the port, it's madness. So consider that when you're looking at your check-in time, what time you want to get down to the port and what time you want to get on board the ship.
So I guess in the bottom line is Royal versus NCL embarkation process out of LA. I'm gonna give them an even 10 of 10 for both of them because they weren't too bad at all. And there's been other areas with Norwegian that were not a so great embarkation process, but here in LA for both of those, I give them both a thumbs up. They went well and nice and smooth and quick, no matter what time we checked in, and it worked out great for us.
Yeah, one of the things about the Port of LA for parking, not only is parking, like he said, $20 a day. It's real easy to get to. It's a flat surface, so if you've got mobility issues, walking from the parking lot to the actual check-in, smooth, flat ground, easy to walk through. There's also the USS Iowa at that same parking lot location. So if you were looking to do something maybe before your cruise or after your cruise, little mini excursion, if you will, just something to do. If you've got time you need to kill in LA, then this is a really neat. We've done the USS Iowa before, and it's a pretty cool experience.
And then with the parking, it's really a minute. It's a minute or two to walk from the parking over to where you check in. So it was all good either way.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the ships. So let's start with Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas. Both of them were around the same size, but what I really liked about Royal is it was colorful. So that was it was tropical. It kind of seemed nice there.
Very inviting, fun environment. Gave you fun vibes the whole all throughout the cruise ship.
It seemed to have pools in a couple different locations instead of all in one area. It had jacuzzis. It seemed like all over the place. It had more jacuzzis than any of the other ships we've been on, and we've been quite a few NCLs. The inside, one of the cool things was their atrium. What is it called? The gallery promenade, tomato, whatever. That area was really cool. I mean, you felt like you were in a mall, but just looking up, or if you were up above and you were looking down, it was just an open area, and it was really cool. They had all their shops there, and they did some of their entertainment there. So that was kind of neat for me. I liked it.
Yeah, so Navigator of the Seas is one of their older ships for Royal Caribbean. So if you're comparing it to that new, large, monstrous thing that just came out, it's similar concept, but not nearly as big. But definitely has that mall vibe inside, but it was really nice because it was open air. Well, not quite open air to the outside, but you had that open feeling.
Yeah, it was, 10 stories high, it seemed like. And there was rooms that had windows looking out into that area, which is kind of weird. I'm not sure I'd want one of those. Plus, when they were doing, they had events like at night where they were doing the disco 70s or 80s or whatever it was, and it was pretty loud down there. We were in the middle of it all, and I'm just imagining those people up there with their windows right there. They must have heard most of what was going on.
They also had this really cool, on Navigator of the Seas, they have this roving piano guy. And so at different times, you would see him down there on the promenade. And if he's playing and he's really loud, then they had some other music going on. And I don't know, to me, we sat there, we looked around, we were like, is this something that we would consider? And it's not really our jam to have a room overlooking the inside of that promenade. And I don't know, to each their own, right? So it's just,
I guess if you're going to have an inside room, at least you would have a view, right?
Yeah, a little bit of a view.
View of something. But, she mentioned the roving piano guy. I would have to say that to take away from the ship, I had my top three things. I liked the open air area, the promenade. I liked the roving piano guy. That's my number one. Like, if you could take him and put him on Norwegian, because that's normally where we cruise, we're a little dedicated to them. That guy was awesome. We ended up in an elevator with him at one point. He was down just in the middle of the walk areas at one point. Really neat stuff. So that would be the one thing that I'd like to take away from that cruise and bring it to Norwegian.
For sure. He had such a cool vibe and the charisma, and people would just stop and they would just listen to him. And what's so cool about the roving piano guy is that he would just show up anywhere. You could never look to see where he's going to be playing if you were just walking through. And in our case, the elevator opened and there he was.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was pretty neat. Let's see. Another top item for me that was really neat was the dining area. It was 3 stories, and maybe this isn't the best analogy.
The main dining room.
Yeah, maybe not the best analogy, but I really felt like when I looked at it, it was like a Titanic type situation. It was so elegant. It was just awesome. It had a big old staircase, and you could sit on all 3 levels. It was really neat, and I think it's the best dining room that I've ever seen. We did eat there, and it was just a different vibe. So it was really cool. And those have to be my top 3 things that I really liked about Royal.
When we were walking around the ship to check it out and just kind of familiarize ourselves with the ship, which is what we both highly recommend. If you haven't been on a ship for the first time, just take a day, explore the ship, familiarize yourself with the levels. So with the dining room, we started at level 3. And we started at the very top so that we could peer down into the dining room. And it was just like he said, it was very elegant looking. We had breakfast there one morning, and then we had dinner one evening. And for dinner, they did do a dinner show. There was a little singing event where they had not only the waiters and the service people, they encouraged the guests to get up there and sing and dance, and so it was a whole interactive experience. And then breakfast, a little bit more calm, obviously. You know, everybody's just enjoying their mimosas. I was one of them. And but beautiful setting, and just very comfortable.
Yeah, I'm not real big at eating and having entertainment and strange people dance around my table while I'm trying to eat. But, you know, hey, whatever.
You're on vacation.
Yeah, so those are the top things that I really liked. I mean, everything else, you know, they have a workout room, they have mini golf, they did have a rock crawling wall, climbing wall, not crawling, I'm a jeeper. And so it was pretty cool to see that. They had basketball courts, they did a lot of different events back there. The water slides were pretty cool, although we didn't get an opportunity to go on them. It wasn't exactly the warmest for us during this trip. What else did they have that was pretty cool? I mean, everything else is very generic and the same as any other cruise ship. Nothing that really stuck out that was, oh, this is so much different besides those 3 items that I mentioned earlier. There was one cool thing that we did like, and that's where we got this cup. It was basically a soda machine that you go and you can refill in it. You know, one of those things that has this little reader at the bottom so it registers your account and you can, but it was one of those things that there was only a couple machines and you had to pay an extra amount just for the sodas. And when you went to get a soda, let's say a can of soda or whatever, it didn't count on your soda package. So that was kind of screwy. The machines were cool, but personally, it was a waste of money.
Yeah, so the soda package, it's not for this cup where we purchased the drink cup. It wasn't part of their soda package like the alcohol package, which is what people are most familiar with, or a soda package if you're not a drinker. This feature was really nice because we do enough sodas that I think had this not been our first experience on this cruise ship, I think we probably would have used this one a little bit more because we do like to have our sodas in the evenings. We like to have it, you know, just walking around casually. We're not huge soda drinkers, but these were those machines that you could rotate the flavors and you could choose. So we're Dr. Pepper people, and you could get
that 3 times.
You could get the cherry Dr. Pepper, the vanilla Dr. Pepper, all the different flavors. So this was pretty cool. And then you get the souvenir cup. So you bring this home and it ends up in your videos. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, there are only a couple of machines throughout the entire ship. So that was a drawback.
And that's one of the big things that we really liked because we'll tell you right now, Norwegian does not have Dr. Pepper. And that is the one big downfall that we don't like about Norwegian. So we liked that we had an opportunity for Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
All right. So what else did you like about Royal? Just the ship in general.
The ship in general, like he said, the colors found that super inviting. The pool area, which again, this particular cruise, this weekend cruise down to Ensenada wasn't very warm, so we weren't in the pool, but we were definitely outside in the pool area. So they had a really nice lounge area that kind of like sat up over the top pool, very colorful, vibrant, had a tropical feel to it. So it was very inviting. The band had a little stage area up towards the edge of the pool. So that was nice. You could be down at the pool or you could be up above them to experience some of that. They had this really cool eatery by the side of the pool. So a lot of times you can get your hamburgers or your hot dogs or whatever. This one, I believe it was called a Loco Fresh, and it was you could go there and you can get
it was a taco bar basically.
Yeah, and nachos, and you could get, I think it was like 2 or 3 different kinds of meats there.
Another thing that Norwegian doesn't really have, at least on the cruise ships we've been on, is like a little taco place. You can get Mexican food at the Mexican restaurant, but nothing quick and easy to get. So that was kind of nice also.
Yeah, and being outside by the pool, you could go get your food, go back to your lounge chair or wherever you're hanging out at. And this was one of the complimentary food items. So it wasn't like it was a specialty. You didn't have to pay extra for it. So that was definitely a plus. We didn't take advantage of the fitness area this time. It was a weekend cruise, so it was...
Do we ever take advantage of the fitness area?
I did. But the venue where we went to go watch the entertainment.
Yeah, we did go see. We try to see the shows that are on the ships that are offered. We like to see the shows. So the 2 shows we saw, they were okay. They weren't big, spectacular items like we've seen on Norwegian. We've seen bigger shows, but everybody's trying to cut back right now and make their shows smaller, cheaper, whatever you want to say. But they were all right. The entertainment wasn't bad. Like I said, they had entertainment throughout the ship, so you could be walking down the promenade and there was a jazz band playing. So
they had an ice skating rink that you could actually sign up for and participate in, and then they also did a show at this ice skating rink. So it is indoors.
We didn't go to see the ice skating thing. We were on limited schedule, and it wasn't like a top on our priority list to see people skate. So,
but we've heard that it's a pretty good show. So
unless they have hockey sticks, if they have hockey sticks, we'll go watch them play. Okay. So, I mean, for Royal, that kind of wraps up Royal for the most part. Things that we didn't like, one big thing that we didn't like that we really love about Norwegian is they have the outside areas. It had 1 floor that you could walk on the outside where there was no bars, no food, no nothing, just some seats to sit out there. But, Norwegian ships have 2 or 3 floors and a bunch of bars and outside areas and way better. Now, the ship is older, but we've been on older Norwegian ships and they still had kind of the same thing. So that outdoor area is important to us and we really like it.
Yeah, just having that opportunity to grab a drink or have a nighttime stroll and just, pop in and out of the ship real easy. We found that super nice on Norwegian. Unfortunately, this particular ship for Royal didn't have it. But again, it is an older ship, and so that's probably part of the problem. So keep that in mind when you're looking at cruise ships. If that's, the access is one of the things that is a big plus to you. So
everybody's going to determine what they want. I mean, is it the location you're going to? Is it the ship that you want to be on? How big is the ship? When we got back into cruising, my biggest thing was I want to go on the biggest ship at the time that we can so I can see if I like it. Because the first time, didn't work out so well. I was a little sick the whole time. So anyway, that's Royal. And let's move on to Norwegian. And let's just talk about their ships overall.
So for Norwegian, when we did it, we took the cruise down to Mexico. It was during Christmas time. That was really nice. The ambiance of Norwegian is definitely geared towards the older group of people.
I would say it's a little more upscale also.
Definitely upscale. It's just it's a more relaxed feel on Norwegian. And you do tend to have older people, not that it's, nothing but a bunch of old cronies, but I mean,
we've seen plenty of party people out by the pool, and some people passed out and getting handled by security, and they didn't know who they were or where they needed to be, and they had no identification.
So. And no, it wasn't us. Not this time.
We've seen plenty of things, but Norwegian, it just has a different feel to it. Obviously Carnival, you talk about Carnival. It's one of those that everybody thinks of the fun ship when all the kids are going on and stuff. We're a little bit older. We like it a little bit calmer, but, we want some music out there by the pool and have an environment. But Norwegian, when you look at the cruise ship, what were we on? The Bliss, right? Mm-hmm. So it has all that outside promenade area where there's bars where you can hang out. If you can go on one side of the ship and there's no sun, or you can go on the other side of the ship and there is sun, depending on which way you're going. It had plenty of indoor venues. It had a lot of options when it came to the bar areas and the eating areas. They were indoors and outdoors also.
Yeah, and Norwegian, like I said, is geared a little bit more towards the little bit older crowd, but still a very fun ship. The last 2 cruises that we were on with Norwegian were a little bit more modern ships. They were updated most recently, recent renovations. So they did have a few more upscale things. One thing that we noticed, to me, one of the big differences I noticed between Norwegian and Royal is that and not to put a negative towards them, it's just one of the things that we observed, is that the cleanliness, it seemed to be a little bit, it wasn't as good on Royal as it was on Norwegian.
Yeah, it seems like on Norwegian, you felt like they were walking around cleaning everywhere all the
Like
time.
right behind you.
And you could look at things and didn't feel grossed out touching stuff. But there was some areas we went to on Royal that it was kind of like, And even the rooms. We've stayed in regular rooms and Haven rooms on Norwegian, and on Royal it was just a regular room. But just going out to the balcony, it didn't feel like it wanted to touch anything. We were wiping stuff down, and we don't normally do that. But so for Norwegian, I think the top things for us are obviously the outdoor areas. Like the Bliss on Encore, they have racetracks. That's really cool. Water slides, they all have water slides of one type or another, so they're very similar. Pool areas are very similar. I think the outdoor areas are nice. I think the entertainment that we saw on Norwegian was nicer, better, and we've even went back and watched one or two of them twice. I think that the overall themes were better on Norwegian. Big negative for Norwegian is they don't have Dr. Pepper. I think that's really our biggest pet peeve, or whatever you want to call it, with Norwegian, is that they don't have Dr. Pepper. Other than that, I like to go with you get what you pay for.
Absolutely.
And some cruise ships are a little bit more expensive than others. We like to have a balcony. We have done the Haven most of the time. We like the suites. We like more space.
Yeah.
But we've done them both. It depends on the time and obviously money. But we like Norwegian a lot better. And when it comes to the cruise ships, I just think overall it felt cleaner, had more opportunities, more bars.
Yeah.
I think the
more eateries, more places to hang out, more inside outside type environment.
The buffet. I think the buffet was bigger.
Oh yeah, the buffet was definitely bigger.
But even though it was bigger, I think Royal had a nice option for the food. The only thing that is different on the Royal Caribbean versus Norwegian, the two ships that we went on, is Norwegian has pizza available, which I'm number one pizza. Norwegian has pizza available in their buffet, and on Royal, it was down in a little cafe. They didn't have it as part of their buffet.
It was in the promenade area, so that.
And it was still free, but
it
was separate. It would have been nice if they had it in both areas. What else?
Yeah, so that's a little different. You're going to the buffet. You're not going to get high-end food, and you would think the pizza would be there. So that was a little bit weird because he always wanted pizza, so we always had to go to two different places because I like pizza. I don't love pizza.
And the other thing about Norwegian too is a lot of the ships have the observation decks where they'll have an outdoor, but an indoor where it's just all glass and you're looking out. Now I know a lot of the newer ships have that. Everybody's kind of going with the same theme, but I think Norwegian overall is just set up better, and I think we just enjoy it. It's a lot more relaxed atmosphere, a lot less rules and regulations, I guess, when it comes to how you're supposed to dress and this and that. No, don't get us wrong, Norwegian. One time they said, "Sorry, sir, you can't come in here." I had a tank top or a hat or something, and we're like, "Oh, okay." And but there's certain places that they want you to wear decent clothes, pants, jeans or something, and it just depends on the time of day also, because they don't care as much about breakfast and lunch, but dinner they do want you to dress a little bit accordingly.
That is a big plus for Norwegian. Like when you look at their promotions, that is their big thing. You cruise free, and you can eat whenever you want. You don't have to choose a specific dining time, which we found that still to be on. If you want to eat in the dining room, you don't have to have a specific time. On Norwegian, you just go and eat whenever you feel like eating. And on Royal, we still had to choose a time. So we're not big on that. We like to just kind of go and
like
be
the
free.
Open door.
Yeah, and come and go as we wish. Obviously, for Norwegian, if you're going, and the same thing for Royal, if you're going to go to a specialty restaurant and you have a reservation. I mean, that's a specialty restaurant, so you're paying extra for that anyway. So you're going to have that reservation. But for the complimentary, eateries and stuff like that, definitely like having that open, come and go as you wish.
Main dining.
You have those few hours. And you can go whenever you want. You don't have to come at a specific time. That was a little bit of a downfall. Yeah. So,
and I would say this about Royal too. They did have a better store for their items. I guess their Royal Caribbean stuff, like this little fluffy pillow stuffed animal boat thing. Here, things like this that you want to buy, little purchase trinkets or whatever. It did have a bigger store than what Norwegian's cruise ships have had so far. And then another thing is on both ships, our guys, what are they called?
Room stewards.
Room stewards. Those guys were great on both ships. They always are. Now, a lot of times I will ask, hey, can you give us some towel, figurines or whatever?
Animals.
Because, whatever. And they'll do it, and we tip them for it, But on Royal, we didn't ask, and we got some things, and we ended up getting this little guy. Now, don't tell anybody that we brought it home. But this...
Turn it.
This was...
How cute is that?
Our little towel animal, and... It's really
little beak.
really small compared to the bigger towel ones, but we thought it was really neat, and lo and behold, we come home and it just happened to be in our suitcase. How do you figure? But we've always been lucky, and we've always asked. I know there's a lot of critics out there. Oh, why do you ask? They got enough work to do. Hey, look, you know what? They're getting paid for it. We pay them extra. We treat them really good. They treat us really good, and it works out for both. So if they didn't have time to do it, we understand. We don't bitch and complain about it. But so both experiences on the ships, I think overall were pretty good. They both have their pluses and minuses, but in the end, I think we're going to stick with Norwegian until we run out of ships or run out of destinations. Then we're probably going to have to go look at some other ships. And don't get me wrong, I'm still looking for the biggest, world's largest ship, which we know where it just came out on Royal. Mm-hmm. We might be hitting that one up soon too, just because we want to check it out. But we also are going on a cruise on Norwegian's smallest ship to Australia and New Zealand in another year and a half, and that'll be interesting too. Hey there, so let's talk about the debarkation process. In LA, off of Royal, for instance,
super easy.
Amazingly easy.
Very easy. We
did keep our luggage. We don't normally do that, but we did keep our luggage because we were only there for a weekend. And
the self disembarkation, I think, is what they call it.
Yeah, and they had
self assist.
They had 2 different times, and so we picked one, and we encountered. Oh, one big thing that we forgot to mention is they have a lot of elevators, whereas Norwegian don't have but a small bank of elevators. So that really made a difference. So that kind of falls into the debarkation because we were expecting the elevator open and go, oh, we're never going to get on this one, because that's the real bad thing about Norwegian is their elevators are always crowded. We got on the elevator and just went down and walked off the ship. It was like 5 minutes. It was incredibly quick.
Yeah, for the port of LA, you just you zigzag down the gangway, and we followed a couple all the way out, and we did one checkout where we scanned the cards when we're leaving the boat, so that they know that we left.
And by the way, there is a video of this, and there'll be it'll be down in the credits there. Just check it, and you can see a video about embarkation, debarkation. We kind of did separate ones for both, so you can see how easy it really was.
Again, like he said, we're local, so we took our luggage with us this time. It was a short trip, so we just had a couple of pieces with us, and so we just carried them right off the ship, rolled them off the ship, if you will. And it was just super easy, no long lines. I think the boat got into dock about 6:30, and they cleared the ship by 7:15, and I think we were walking off at like 7:30. It was
quick and easy for Royal. I can't say anything else. It was just that simple. We were 5-10 minutes off the boat, in the truck, and on our way home. So not a big deal there. And no traffic to get out of the parking lot or anything. Get on the freeway. For Norwegian coming in, it's not always easy to get off of Norwegian. That's all I can say.
It is different.
When we do the Haven, it's so much simpler because they take you privately through the back doors and get you off the ship. But the experiences we've had with just getting off the ship when we stay in a regular room, I can't even say, if you've heard of this, Disneyland line, ridiculous. I can't believe, you're going from one end of the ship to the other, waiting in a line to get off to go. It's just crazy. And I don't think we've had a real good experience debarkation-wise from Norwegian.
I think the ports have a lot to play, you know, because you got, you got customs and whatnot for each location. So I think that does kind of come into play. But both times out of LA, for Royal as well as for Norwegian, they really weren't that bad. So I would say, disembarking in the port of LA, fairly simple, walking through the customs terminal, not a big deal. It's a quick security check. Again, that applies to Americans. Obviously, if you're not a U.S. citizen, then your customs check is going to be a little bit different. But it was a simple, and it's again easy walkthrough. So if you do decide you're going to take your luggage, self-assist and disembark with your luggage, you'll be able to easily walk off with it.
Yeah, and Norwegian's a little easier that way too. And like I said, when we're in Haven, it's simple, but it just seems like when you're in a regular room, and if you don't get off quickly or get in line quickly, you wait a long time. Now, maybe if you wait till later, because you can wait till the end to get off the ship, it's a little easier, and we've waited too also. But yeah, I would say that Royal definitely was better for some reason. Now, we only did the one cruise, and we can't compare it to any others, but we're just comparing the two cruises down from LA to Mexico. So I would say in that debarkation, I'd say Royal won on that one.
Yeah, for sure. And again, the Port of LA, there's pluses and minuses everywhere. It depends on what you're looking for. But really, you're just looking to get on the boat and off the boat. And getting off the boat in this instance, again, simple process. There's not a lot to it. It's just, you're already sad because your vacation's over. So it's, let's just get through the rest of the process and get to wherever you got to go. So if you're going to pick up taxis outside of the terminal, or if you happen to park like we did, again, you're right back to where you started where you got onto the ship at. And so taxi service, Uber service, everything is right there. There's a decent waiting area.
Yeah, LA's definitely a easy terminal to get in and out of. I would say that, definitely. So overall, we had good experiences there. For the most part, that wraps it up for our two ship comparisons, debarkation, embarkation, just ships in general. And I'm Ron.
And I'm Jody.
Just letting you know from RoJo Travel, hit that like and subscribe to keep in touch with the rest of our videos. And we have plenty of them posted, so please go check them out and support us while we bring you all these adventures.
And stay tuned. We'll be bringing more adventures real soon. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.